Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A very good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage, right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Thank you to everyone for listening live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn, on iHeartRadio, for those watching live on YouTube, for anyone listening to on podcast, wherever you get your podcast. We appreciate you. Give us the thumbs up on the YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to us on our podcast either, please go subscribe to all of our great shows that we produce here on Edmonton Sports Talk. It'd be greatly appreciated. It does help us out. So whether it be the Nielsen Show, the Hangout, Hello Hockey, the VIP Golf Show, any of our shows, please go wherever you get your podcast and subscribe to us. Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanyk, Jasmine Sidhu, Shawn Belle with you here on the Hangout. Benny, the intern, on the other side of the camera. Edmonton Sports Talk, also proudly presented by Play Alberta, a wonderful partnership that we have with Play Alberta as well. How's everyone doing today?
Just peachy.
Well, you should be peachy right now. Got a nice trip coming up.
He was flexing to us that he's going on a PJ.
Actually, no. I wasn't flexing at all.
He didn't flex at all.
I didn't even say a word.
He's flexing.
Tommy.
He's jacked and juicy.
Tommy was the one flexing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm actually very jealous. I miss going on chartered flights. It was so fun.
Yeah, they were. One of the nicest was like the fresh baked chocolate chip cookie. Little touch of class.
Yeah, touch of class. The flight crew is up in Edmonton for the second round. They'll be around for the third round as well. But yeah, so excited. I don't know. Yeah, I was talking about his PJ.
Yeah, and then he says he got a bunch of long drink.
I got 11 cases.
That's it.
That's wild.
Well, I got a feeling that there's going to be other stuff on there too. So
How long is the long drink gonna last?
not that whole flight.
The official drink of the EST Hangout. It is the Finnish long drink, legend of 1952. A drink unlike any other sparkling freshman real liquor. If you are flying on a PJ, the long drink is the drink for you. Even if you're not flying on a PJ, the long drink is a drink for you. Enter your postal code, find a liquor store and establishment nearest you with the long drink in stock.
Good
Keep
pick me up.
Yeah,
Nicely done.
there you go.
you.
There it is.
That's just how we do things in broadcast, right?
Yeah.
So is tomorrow you go?
Tomorrow, 8:30 a.m.
When do you potentially come back? I like how Eric said, are you coming back or whatever?
Monday, I think we land at
So it's
5.
quite a while.
Yeah.
So you're gone for 3 games.
Yeah.
You're going to get partied up for 3 games.
Yep. I got a feeling
You'll probably really like the Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Oh, I'm to love it.
Because then you guys could actually, like, maybe Sunday night get a little sleeping.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I'm just saying that maybe. Like at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, you go to bed. Okay.
He's going all in on Florida, Carolina since he's going to be in the region.
We were talking about trying to go to the game.
Is it doable or no?
It's
course
doable.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have
Florida.
the infamous Kyle Rossiter. He's trying to hook
Is that
us up.
former Panther Kyle
Former
Rossiter?
Panther Kyle Rossiter.
Yeah.
Trying to hook us up.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, that's good.
We'll see.
I mean, hopefully he has good relations with his former team.
I think a lot of guys just want to sit. They want to sit on the beach or in the pool or the elbow room, and
I love the elbow room. If you don't know, if you haven't been, it's in Fort Lauderdale. It's right on the corner of the street, and it overlooks the beach in Fort Lauderdale. And they open up these big bay doors, and there's like 2 levels to it. One time, Dusty and Ryan Leslie almost got into a heated exchange that might have blown over, and I was trying to settle it down. And then finally, Brian Marchment had to come in and break it up at the elbow room.
huh?
Yeah.
Where all your hopes and dreams come true.
Well, ask Dave Pagnotta. he's got a seat at local Jasper Ave that says this seat belongs to David Pagnotta, and then he's got one at the elbow room as well.
Yeah,
is he
it
up for
makes
this year?
sense.
He will be.
He's going to be in Florida.
Florida. That's
with
right.
me.
Yes.
Oh.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's not going to go bad.
No. No, it's not.
Oh, and if the Oilers get through to the Cup final again,
Yeah.
spaghetti.
Look out.
Yeah,
but I mean, we are going to be playing hockey.
You guys
so there's
are.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do a little shinny. And it'll be great. This year I packed my skates. So that's a way better start than last season.
Tommy, you just immediately said that Florida's going to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, I did.
I've got
Did you
Carolina
not watch
winning.
that game last night?
I did.
They were way quicker than Carolina.
I got Carolina winning.
What?
Really?
I
After
picked them.
that?
Yep.
And how many?
Well, I picked them
Shane, you back
before
me up
that,
here.
obviously.
I
Predictions usually have to be before, so I picked them before.
So you're sticking with it,
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
even after you saw.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is that
It's my prediction. I got to
okay?
roll
But
with
is
it.
that I made the prediction? I'm not changing my prediction, or I made the prediction. I'm stuck with my prediction.
Both.
Okay.
Like, both.
Very stubborn. I like it.
Well, I'm just trying to think. How long did?
No, he is.
No, how long is? No, I'm stubborn too. Don't worry.
Oh, I know.
How long is Carolina off? Were they off for? They finished on Thursday?
They're off for like a week, weren't they?
It was Thursday. They were the
Yeah.
day after the Oilers, I
Yeah.
think. Okay, and the Panthers had a very short turnaround, so maybe some of that plays into yesterday's game. A little bit more of
it did.
the rust.
I think it did.
Rest type thing.
I think it
I
did.
just was impressed with how quick bang bang those goals were that Florida buried on Carolina. Like I was like, oh my god, Florida was just caught chasing or Carolina was caught chasing.
How many were on the power play? 2?
One,
Because I think that could have been the issue as well with Carolina and their momentum.
but yeah, it looked like big boy hockey versus
I think you're going to see Carolina be better tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
No, it
I
better
do
be.
too.
Okay.
I agree with
Like, I
you.
honestly do. Like, they've been overwhelming teams in the playoffs. Carolina. And obviously they ran into
Yeah.
a team that overwhelmed the Leafs and they're feeling it, but I got a feeling they're going to find their game and they're going to pick it up. I mean, we could probably sit here and say the same thing about Edmonton the first couple games, this Stanley Cup run. They were not good in games 1 and 2 against LA. And then what they do, they turn it around. So I'm sticking with my Carolina pick.
2 power play goals for the Panthers yesterday. So you were correct, Jasmine.
Thank you.
EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life transitions. May savings in full bloom, 50% off 12 weeks all units, or you can get 75% off 8 weeks on 5x5 units, or 4 weeks free on selected units. Check them out, sentinel.ca by Canadian. Also, you can find all the convenient locations nearest you. Okay, Oilers Stars begins tonight, 5 o'clock. GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tommy Hernan live from Boston Pizza Westgate. We have you covered with basically pregame for the majority of today. Anyways, right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. So, but Tommy and Hernan will be on directly at 5 o'clock. How's everyone actually feeling going into this series? Where are you guys at?
Go ahead.
Pretty excited. It's been a few days, right? It's been a minute.
A week?
Yeah, hey, looking
Last
forward.
Wednesday.
Like watching these other teams, I just don't care because I really think the Oilers got this.
That's it.
Well, yeah, what else? Calm. That's it. Let's see what happens today, I guess, right? Like, let's see. And then you'll get the feel.
Okay. I feel good. Like, I don't know. I think the Oilers are going back to the Cup final.
Same.
I think there's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. I was thinking about this too. Listen to the morning show on my way in, and Eric alluded to it a little bit. How like Rashog says the 6 game prediction is a cop out, but like, what if you think and you have a really good feeling that it is going to be a 6 gamer? Like, I think it's going to be Edmonton in 6.
Why is 6
Yeah.
a cop-out?
I don't know.
Because it's, to say 7 is like you're
Too close.
It's just like, okay, that's some people don't want to be like, well, it's going to go full 7. 4 is hard to sweep. 6, it's just you give the one team 2 wins.
Most
you give the
series
other
end
team
at 6.
4.
Yeah.
That's why it's a cop out.
So then
Because
you're right?
Well, it's the cop out, and this is where I'm just like where I think Rashog's coming from, and why people would say that is that it's easy, it's a default. Not much thought goes into that. Thanks for coming to the table. You really put a lot of thought into this. You're just saying in 6. That's kind of the thought process behind
I'm not
it.
a fan of that take.
I think Shoggy's just trying to do things the hard way on purpose. I was like, but what if you think it's going to end in 6? Like, I thought the Oilers would beat the Kings in 6. Guess what? They did. I thought the Oilers would beat the Golden Knights in 6. They did it in 5 in the modified gentleman's sweep. I do think this one's going to go 6, much like last year against Dallas. The 2 good teams that both have their weaknesses, both have their advantages. But Edmonton, I think, has the confidence of knowing how to beat Dallas. Dallas picking up Brandon, that was huge, obviously. If they find a way to shut him down.
Exactly. If you are on his, I'm going to say it. If you are on his ass, you are good.
So Washington beat Montreal in what? 5? Okay, I had them in 6 because I legitimately thought Montreal was going to get another
copped out.
game.
No
Copped
thought
out.
coming from Shawn.
Okay, Jersey and Carolina.
Carolina 5.
I had 6.
Cop out.
I had the Sens in 7.
Wrong.
I had Tampa in 7.
Wrong.
The next one I had the Blues the Jets in 5. This was the first round.
Yeah, that was a good series.
Then I had Avs in 7, which was wrong.
Yeah.
And then I had the Knights in 6 over the Wild.
There've only been 4 series that have gone 6.
And then
that was right.
I had the Oilers in 6.
That was right.
4 of the 12 have gone 6.
So right now in my postseason predictions, I'm 8-4, and I have a lot of 6s in there.
And you were wrong in a lot of those 6s.
Not necessarily.
Well, only 4 of the 12 went
Well,
6.
I mean, so that's 50%.
That's why that does take away
gotten right.
That does take away the cop out a little bit, at least for
does,
this year.
though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because Toronto, Ottawa, Vegas, Minnesota, Edmonton, LA, and then Dallas, Winnipeg all went 6. No other series went 6.
So 50% of the ones that I got right were 6. That's not a cop out.
Well, if you're defaulting to 6 is a lot, then it's a cop out, I guess.
I don't think so.
Oh, Richard disagrees.
Well, never mind.
I'm surprised at how much Edmonton fans are dismissing the Dallas Stars. That's as far as
You
I'm
are
going.
right.
That's the one thing I'm surprised by is just how dismissive people are of Dallas. Not saying that they're wrong in picking the Oilers. Not saying that they're wrong and that the Oilers aren't going to go to the Stanley Cup. We'll see what goes on here. But like, this is the toughest matchup I believe the Oilers are going to face these playoffs. Period. They're tougher than
No, I think
Vegas.
the
They're
Kings
tougher
were.
than the Kings.
Yeah, like to date. But if they get to the Stanley Cup Finals, obviously that's a different animal. But
Better than Carolina. Dallas.
I think Dallas is a really good hockey team, and I would not dismiss this team.
Well, and that, like, I'm surprised just, like, and maybe it's just the confidence how good this team is. Like,
They're better than last year's team.
they're better. Who?
Dallas is better this year than they were last year.
On paper.
Adding Rantanen
Yeah.
is a massive, massive addition. That's the offensive punch you potentially need. That's that one goal that you potentially need to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. So
Are the Oilers better than last year?
I think
Yes.
they're different.
I
Different's a good way to
don't know if I would
Yeah,
say
it's a good
better.
word.
I'm not sure if
Because you
they're
don't
better,
have
but
Echo.
they're different.
You still don't have Echo,
Yeah.
and it's hard for me to say. But Wallman's played well
Yep.
on the blue line. Just
Klingberg
overall,
surprised
Klingberg has played very well. It's his revenge tour against the Dallas Stars.
That's right.
Yep.
Forward wise, there was depth scoring last year for the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs, if I recall correctly. I'd have to go look
yeah.
back. Yeah, there was.
There was.
So I don't. But they were also a really good hockey team last year that went into Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. So it's not like
I would say
it's
that
hard to get that much better. But now the Dallas Stars, what is Miro Heiskanen going to be in this series?
elite.
Is he going to be elite in this series?
Absolutely.
Did you see that against the Jets?
No. I saw a really good player.
Okay. That, like,
But he's going
what's
to
his-
consistently get better, right?
What's his health level at? That's where I'm going. So that's where it's like, hey, they get Rantanen.
Well, isn't
but-
that the same as like Evander Kane? Nobody knew exactly what it was going to be. And so he comes out, first game, tentative, second game, better, third game, better. He's just been getting better the entire way. Like, I see the same thing for Heiskanen. He's just going to keep getting better. And that's an elite hockey player. So to me, it's like they're going to be a problem. But I think the Oilers are actually built more like Florida this year than they were last year. So I think they can play multiple different styles this year better, and they can handle it better than they could last year. Last year, I thought they were just like, they were fast. There was still an element of physicality there, but I don't think they're as physical as this team.
Fair enough. Which is funny because during the season, they were talked about how soft this team was.
I know, but you didn't have any of those physical players, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's partly why, like, the start of the year, one of the reasons I didn't care about the regular season was like, I don't even know what this team looks like come playoff time because trade deadline hasn't come.
Yep.
This team was going to look different at trade deadline. Now there was, Kane was also the other guy there that we were worried about or had to look at. But yeah, it's just funny how no depth this season. No physicality this season. This and yes,
Well, there
playoffs
wasn't physicality.
I know,
over the course
but the
of
playoffs
season.
comes and all of a sudden it's there for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah. But you inject a Kane and a Frederick into your lineup, everybody's a little bit taller, right? Everybody's a little bit more physical because now there's nobody really wants to deal with those guys. Like when you watch Kane come flying into a scrum, watch how everybody reacts the minute he shows up. The guys are like, I don't really want to get into this. If it was McDavid's line, they're fully invested. They're trying to punch him in the face. They're trying to do whatever they can. They're headlock city as soon as Kane comes in. And actually, case in point would be, I think it was against LA. McDavid's getting cross-checked on the ice by, was it Gavrikov?
Probably. Yes, I remember
right?
that.
And then Kane comes in, kind of gives him a shot, shakes his glove. There was guys around. Nobody touched him. That told me everything I need to know. Like, they don't want to deal with him because there's a bit of there's a wild card element there. And then Frederick comes in. He adds a little bit of more physicality too. So now all of a sudden it's like Podkolzin gets a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. Kapanen gets a little bit bigger. You saw in the Vegas series. Remember those two guys running around?
Yeah.
Like nobody touched those guys in that one particular game where they're just running guys. It's different. You didn't see guys running like that last season.
This is Hangout Headlines brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, offering premier conditions, top-notch service. They are also your all-in-one tournament host, proud host to over 180 tournaments each year, including the EST Golf Classic presented by Play Alberta. Book your tournament today or book your tee time today. Visit theranchgolf.com. As for the Edmonton Oilers, morning skate will be 10:30 our time. So at the very ends, last half hour of the Hangout here, they'll be on the ice. So any updates that we possibly see from that, we will pass them along. We'll keep an eye on what's going on with there. But yeah, the Oilers will be on the ice 10:30 at the American Airlines Center, following the Dallas Stars.
I have a thought here, and I'm just looking at the Dallas Stars stats. They have 3+ players in the playoffs. Everyone else, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 even players. Everyone else is a minus. What does that tell you?
They played Colorado.
That was 2 rounds ago.
Eric brought up an interesting point.
Oh, sorry. Colorado was really good, man.
Wyatt Johnson's minus 13. Sorry, man.
No, Eric brought up an interesting point this morning. I'm just going to go look at the numbers. He says when they lose big, and that's the problem. Lost 5-1 to the Avs, lost 4-0 to the Avs, lost 7-4 to the Avs. What happened in the Jets series? In their 2 losses, they lost 4-0 to the Jets.
Twice.
They lost 4-0 to the Jets. So when they lose big.
Right.
They give up goals big time, and maybe that doesn't help with some of that plus minus.
Yeah, and they were scoring on the power play. Their power play's been good.
Yeah. Wyatt Johnston minus 13, Matt Duchene minus 9, Labushkin minus 7, Jamie Benn minus 6, Thomas Harley minus 5, Jason Robertson minus 3, Colin Blackwell minus 3, Maverick Bork minus 2, Oscar Bach minus 2, Miro Heiskanen minus 1. He's only played a couple games. Sam Steele minus 1, Mason Marchment minus 1, Cody Ceci minus 1, Roque Hintz, Esa Lindell, Alex Petrovic, and Evgeny Dodonov all even. And then Granlund, Rantanen, and Bischel plus 1.
I don't take much stock in the plus minus.
Okay. Well, I know it's not a be all end all.
Yeah,
stat,
but
but it's
there's
an
something
indicator.
there. Yeah.
It's an
There
indicator.
is, but you ran into the Colorado Avalanche. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And most teams would probably have minus after you run into that team because they are really good. So, and like you mentioned, they lost multiple games and the Avs scored 5+ or 4+. So, I don't put much stock into it because when you watch this team play tonight, you're gonna be like, oh, that's not a minus player.
Yeah.
Right. So
No, I found that interesting.
it is interesting, but I think it's very much detailed off of who they played. Like if you were to look at Vegas, I don't think Vegas's stats are like that, and we'd probably argue that Dallas is better than Vegas. But if you look at Vegas and their stats, it's probably just low minuses because they played Minnesota.
But does that also potentially read into the fact that maybe they score on the power play? They're not scoring 5-on-5.
Oh,
that
for
the sure.
Oilers'
advantage will be
the Oilers,
5-on-5 right now.
Yep.
Because the one thing the Oilers this playoffs have had versus their last few playoffs is They're much better 5-on-5
Yes.
than they have been in years past.
The Oilers 5-on-5 is an advantage right now because they are scoring 5-on-5. Dallas right now is scoring on the power play.
Wait, I forgot the stat. Somebody will correct me. The power play opportunities on the road this playoffs, it's like 1 goal or something. The Oilers scoring. Like their power play has been rather bad actually.
Yeah.
Throughout these playoffs.
Anemic, yeah.
But you haven't needed it yet necessarily.
How much more dangerous will they become if they can start scoring on the power play?
Very dangerous. I think that's like their only heel at this point.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It is crazy. It's crazy to think that 2 of the top 5 players in the world on the same power play, they're running at like, isn't it like single digits bad?
On the road?
Yeah.
It's over.
It's
No,
over.
no,
Okay.
no, not on the road, but total. Like, isn't it?
Let me
it's-
check.
No, it
It's
was like
not high.
It was like 5th or 6th in playoffs. In that Vegas.
Teams power play
I thought I
percent.
saw something where they're like in the 10%
Maybe it was a recent thing.
or something. Maybe it was a recent thing, but
The Oilers, this power play or their power play in the playoffs is 25%.
it is 25K.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy because that's like actually half decent. So maybe it was just,
But their penalty kill is also only at 66.7%.
well, that hurts.
The Dallas Stars power plays at 30%. Is Tommy a little quiet?
I'll fix it.
Oh, is it? Click the top button.
Yeah, I'll fix it.
Yeah, I want to
guys
just
keep going.
bump him up a little bit. The Dallas Stars at a 30% power play, 86% penalty kill.
Yeah, and that's well, you don't want to say that's where the series is going to lie, but that could be where the series is going to lie.
I'll say this, but back to the games is picking something in 6. There are just some things that it's just true that you have to say up. Special teams is a very important thing. And
Yeah.
I was just about to say like, oh, there's a cop on it, but it's not.
It's not. It's true.
There's certain
'cause
things, and that one's going to be a big one. And it's
30% versus 66 on the kill.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
like,
give the other 67. It's 66.7.
Sure.
I'll bump him up.
give him 67 to make him sound better, but that's still
That's
really
also
bad.
31 then.
So then you got 31% versus 67%. Like, I don't like those odds.
86 versus
And
25.
then 86 versus 25. Like, you need to win the special teams battle or make sure that it's even. If you can make sure it's even and you can win 5-on-5, then okay, we're probably laughing, but 30% is good. Because most teams want to try to have a combination of power play and PK at 110%. So they talk
is that
about
the
behind-
number?
Yeah. They talk about that behind closed doors. It's 110%. If you have 110%, your specialty teams is good.
I thought it was supposed to be anything over 100, but 110 would be like
110
elite.
is like good.
Yeah.
Really good.
By the way, is my mic better?
I don't know.
It was fine yesterday.
I don't know. This
So
one
something had
sometimes I
issues.
think we just had to pump it up on the board.
Yeah, I think special teams is huge, and this is something that the Oilers, if S goes down today, this is something that Knobloch will fix. This is what he's able to fix.
She's got the faith.
Got the faith.
Oh yeah.
What's net power play percent and net PK percent in the NHL stats? Do we know?
I'd have to look that up because they've revamped.
I don't.
And
Yes, there's
enhance
power
their
play
stats.
percent, penalty kill percent, net
Yeah.
power play percent, net PK percent. So the Oilers' net power play percent is 25 or 25, same as their power play percent. The Stars' power play percent is 30.8, net PP is 25.6. So I don't know what that means. Does Hockey 101 tell me? No, Hockey
They
101.
should have a legend
Oh.
at the bottom.
Is it at the bottom? Well, I don't know because you could. It's that like you could add extra stats, and I don't know if that. I don't know. I just did some weird thing. I got a Hockey 101 AI
Net
thing that is
power
popped up.
play.
Oh, here we go.
Is that the same as just
No, it just
putting
tells
it
you
in the
net
net?
power. Oh, I could click. Here we go. No, that just takes me to the stat. It doesn't explain to me what net power play percent is. Somebody will say it, and then we could read it. It's just because the Oilers is the exact same.
Somebody just said it takes into account shorthanded goals.
Oh, that.
Because it's the exact same for the Oilers, but the Dallas Stars power play does drop in
Well,
that.
Edmonton hasn't allowed a shorty yet this playoffs. So if that's what it does, then that makes sense.
Okay. That works. That's fair enough. I never, yeah. The NHL actually has, if you go to their website, they have a lot of stats. You just have to learn how to navigate it.
Yeah.
And they, from what that their page used to be a number of years ago, it's so much better.
You can play with it, go by date. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
You could just
Teams.
add the season up. You can go by game. Like it's they've. I'll give the NHL credit on that one. They've done a great job with that.
They've enhanced it.
And if there's one thing I could ask for the CFL that I ask for every year is please put a scoring summary on your website. Their games don't have a scoring summary. It makes no sense. It's just the most standard thing in sports, which is you have a scoring summary. You click it, you have to go through, like it takes you one thing, then you got to click all scoring plays, and then it shows you in a weird format. Just give me a list. This is how the scores happen.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I did go.
Stuart Johnson, get that done.
Okay. I went on TSN yesterday to watch the highlights. I went there first because it's just in my bookmarks tab, and I couldn't find the damn highlights for the game. All I could find was a breakdown from Craig Button.
For Florida, Carolina?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, where are the damn highlights? And I clicked
Because TSN's not showing it. Or Sportsnet's not showing it.
Well, I went on Sportsnet, found it.
Did you?
That's right. YouTube's great, honestly.
YouTube is
They
good.
always because you can either get the short ones or sports, and then we'll throw their highlights up.
That's
on
where I've
there,
been going for my stuff lately.
and that's why I won't lie. To this day, I am still surprised to a degree that there is still a Sports Centers and Sportsnet Centrals. That
Wow.
they are, and good. I'm glad that they're still going.
Yes.
It's jobs. It's all of that. It's our youth, but it also surprised me because it's like when I want highlights, I'm not thinking I'm going to go turn on Jay Onright tonight. It's, I wanted to see the highlights of that game. I'm going to go to YouTube, find the video, and watch it.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually, because I actually do rely on Sportsnet and TSN, but then it'll be like a show or it'll be like the top 10, whatever, something.
Just a little secret on those top 10, top 50 shows.
that.
It's just easy filler.
Yo, I know, and I'm sorry. I hate it. And if I'm at like
Don't
a
be sorry.
restaurant, I'll tell the server to change it.
Yeah. Because it's just easy to do and it's repetitive.
It's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, there's stuff going on today. Let me know what's up.
Yeah, and some of those talk shows are starting to disappear, so
This is the final week of Around the Horn.
terrible.
Sad.
That's sad.
Final week of Around the Horn.
Great
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. But
And then watch, 2 years from now, they'll bring back Around the Horn.
Probably. Can they get rid of Colin Cowherd?
He's on a different network.
Yeah, just get rid of him too.
I've actually liked him over time a little bit, or some clips I've seen of him.
Buddy, that guy's awful. He's the king of hot takes.
No.
Him and Skip Bayless are like 1 and 2.
No.
And Skip doesn't exist anymore, which is fantastic.
How are you? How do you
still
not have
relevant.
Stephen A. Smith a higher?
He's 3.
No, he's higher than Colin Cowherd.
Really?
Oh, easily.
Have you seen
Cowherd
or
actually-
heard some of the takes that Cowherd says?
I've heard some of them. Some
This
of them can be
guy
bad.
is-
I've also heard some really good
That
takes
is
from Colin
the
Cowherd.
definition
And he's not just screaming.
of verbal diarrhea.
Nah.
Colin Cowherd.
I'll have to go find them. I look, he's had some that are awful. I will say that. I've seen them.
Oh.
Who hasn't?
God.
Well, his can be really bad too. But he doesn't just scream.
No,
That's where
I
I'll
do
accept
appreciate
that of
him
him. And
about
that's
that.
why
Yes.
that's part of hot
Yeah.
takes to me. He's like Skip Bayless and Stephen A.
He's a
Smith was
screamer.
just, we're gonna scream, we're gonna yell, I'm gonna yell louder than you.
Yeah.
Whereas Colin Cowherd may have terrible takes, but at least he tries to back him up and he does it in a semi-calm manner.
He does do
That
it
I
calm.
could
I
live
can
with.
appreciate
I could live with
that.
Colin Cowherd.
But I still don't like him. I think his takes are so outrageous that it's like
what's wrong with yelling? If you're passionate about something, you're allowed to yell about it.
yeah, but you yell like in spurts. Like you don't sit here in this entire in this entire argument and like scream everything.
Okay.
Like there's most of
It's
the time
same as
that you
that
talk.
person swearing. If
Yeah.
you swear
Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah.
when you drop the F-bomb, everyone's like, oh,
Yeah.
he's swearing
Yeah,
again.
here we go.
If
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
swear once in a while, and then like all of a sudden Benny just right now just yells the F word right now, we all go, whoa, what went wrong? What happened?
Yeah.
That's the same with the yelling. Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith yell every day. And it's
And
like,
Shannon Sharp is starting to do it too.
Yeah.
they're
He is.
yelling
Yeah.
a little bit more. Whereas if you like once a month or so, it just comes up. You'll perk up. You're like, whoa, this
Yeah.
one, you're passionate right
That's
now.
right. There's like more merit in what they're saying,
Yeah.
right? Like you
But
believe them.
Isn't Shannon's off ESPN now?
Yeah,
right?
he is because
Yeah.
of that whole sexual assault thing.
He's still got his show.
Which is-
Shay Shay.
which is really
Club
good.
Shay Shay.
His nightcap. He's got nightcap with Ocho Cinco, and he's got Club Shay Shay, which is like breaking news.
Half the stuff you sent to me, where's that from?
Club Shay Shay.
Club Shay Shay.
Well, that's where Cat Williams exposed the whole Diddy.
Yeah.
the whole
Oh
Diddy
my
thing.
God.
Not going back to Diddy here.
Can we? I'm just kidding. No, let's not.
The Diddy trials are on right now.
Which is just the same thing with everybody. As far as Diddy goes, like
Okay.
everybody's got to experience the same thing. It's just the name keeps changing of who did it.
One thing really quickly on Diddy, if you guys can help me out here. Like, because Diddy is a superstar, right? And people would go to his parties. But now, is anybody who has gone to one of his parties just associated with him? Do they all get painted with that brush? Or if you happen to go to
you a nasty.
Yeah, if you went to his party,
You
you
a
knew exactly what's going on.
nasty-
'Cause
Really?
50
Blank,
Cent,
blank.
50 Cent makes so much fun of him because he knew what he was and he did not associate it at all.
Oh,
and that's
okay.
why he burns him all the time on his social media, which is hilarious.
Really?
Yeah.
That's, I
Tommy,
don't
He
you're
has
about
nothing to
you're about to
hide.
get inundated. Your inbox and get inundated with Diddy stuff.
You're gonna be
That
sending me
stuff
Diddy
is
stuff?
Absolutely wild.
This guy
It's
digs
wild.
it up. He's okay. Yeah, send it to me.
There's like a group of like 12 guys that were workers. I saw this the other day and I'm like, what? Like, you guys were workers?
And then they just came in for the freak off.
They didn't just come in for
No,
the
they-
freak off. They were there for all the whole
It's their
time.
job.
They were used
Oh,
for
they
that.
were workers. So
They
they
were
weren't
workers.
like the groundskeepers and
They
the
were
lawn
groundskeepers.
crew.
Well, they were groundskeepers.
Oh,
Yeah, they
boy.
were.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, but you don't know which side they were groundskeeping on.
I don't want to know. And don't tell me about the tools that they used either.
One tool and only one tool.
Oh boy.
I'm staying out of this one.
Okay,
That's a looking Maddie's face.
that's all I need to know.
Oh my god, it's outrageous, man. If you went to one of those parties, you are nasty.
I probably wouldn't last
Nasty
past
human
like the
being.
front entrance.
It's crazy, like how like these elitists have gone, like Jay-Z, for example, and now everybody's all quiet and
About Jay said.
yeah, exactly. Like, that's just one of many.
So Queen Bee is no longer Queen Bee.
Queen Bee, yeah, you're right. Like she knows
Seriously?
stuff.
Just asking.
Oh boy.
Why? But like that. The only question I would have is like, was there a party within the party, or was the party the party?
There was a party within the party.
Okay, but not everyone then that goes knows the party
You're still
within the
a
party.
Oh, you're saying it's like an after party.
Not that, or even if it's behind the room, like if there's an
freak
extra,
off?
or the
Oh
freak,
my
and like
gosh.
you might not know what's going on in there. You might be like, I don't even want to know what's going on over there. I'm just gonna have fun at this party, and
No, they knew. They didn't want to participate, perhaps.
Ew.
But how do you not know?
I don't know because sometimes you
gets
just don't
around.
want to know.
Sure. But
Yeah, like
you
it's.
still know.
Or do
Hey,
you
I'm
know
going
you're
to
just
P.
turning
Diddy's
it
party.
off?
Want to come? Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
And then you go there for like 2 minutes. You're like, this is not great.
Or you leave at 9 because
Yeah.
you know it's just gonna get.
You better
the freak offs are
hold
gonna
your
start.
drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
You better
That's
cover
what
the
it's
top
all-
of that thing because some little
Exactly.
stuff will get sprinkled in there.
Exactly.
And then you'll wake up with a worker behind you.
I don't want that.
Tommy. So funny.
Let's proceed.
We were talking about Club Shake Shake, right?
That's right.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Shannon Sharp's
Yeah.
Colin Coward.
We're back to the Western Conference Finals. Come on tonight. Oilers
Well, we're
and
definitely
Stars.
going there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Dave Port. No,
Portnoy.
yeah, he,
Yeah.
and that was a really interesting episode as well on Club Shay Shay. I just turned.
I didn't need to go there, but I did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
So nothing. David Portnoy. Anything?
yeah, you want to continue with that one?
No, that's the episode was pretty interesting. Talked about his wife, ex-wife, who still has control of his bank account,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
and I thought that was really beautiful. Just to be like, oh, like he's still like at the end of the day, she's still his partner, like his best friend or whatever, his homie, even though they're not like romantically involved. But he said he doesn't even look at his bank account.
He's a billionaire, isn't he?
I'm sure he is.
I don't know if he'd be billionaire,
I can see his worth.
but
He's got enough money that he probably doesn't have to look at his bank account.
Right.
he's done very well for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he bought Barstool back for $1.
Yeah. So he sold it to Penn because Penn wanted their sports book. And in the contract, if Penn wanted to ever sell, he got first right of refusal. And I can't remember the full details of it. But Penn then wanted to jump on board with ESPN because ESPN wanted to launch a sports book. And so he got to get it back for $1.
That's outrageous.
100 million.
Nice. That's huge.
Still
So-
a lot of
Yeah,
money.
good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
He was like controversial. Now he's liked.
Well, there's
Good
a mix.
point, eh?
It's a mix of
He's
who
had
you
history.
are.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got a history of there's question marks around his treatment of women,
Right.
potential sexual harassment, and he's made light of rape. He's joked about rape in the past, and so there is, depending on who you talk to, there is the questions of the character of David Portnoy.
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Diddy is to baby oil as Tommy is to Swedish hair cream.
Oh, now it makes sense. Oh my God.
You're feeling better, you.
Oh my God. Wow.
Oh no,
That resonates.
I don't want that. Clip that quote. Oh my gosh, too much.
Oilers Stars, for the Oilers, what's their biggest hole in their game, or what's the biggest weakness in their game as they head into this series? Or do you not think there is one? I guess those are the couple of options.
There's always one, isn't there? Rip City.
My concern would be if their depth stops scoring. That would be my concern in this series.
Is the depth scoring stops?
Yeah. And then the other concern is the power play. They need to get it going. Because you once again, this team that they're playing, the Stars, is a different beast than the other two teams. This is a much better team.
Do you think that would be a wash if the depth stopped and the power play got going? Or is that too risky because it's power play and like you never know what power play opportunities? Like
yeah.
Winnipeg's Stars,
Yeah.
one power play in that game.
Yeah. To me, it's a little bit risky, and you need to if your depth stops scoring and then your power play gets going, like it better be at like 30-some%, like back to historic levels. That's the only way. But if you're not getting power plays, well, then you need that 5-on-5 to be minimum even, or you need your depth scoring to take over, and that's how they've been successful. So.
What about the penalty kill?
Penalty kill's a huge one. Good
Yeah,
point.
Yeah.
especially just at the end, in the last seconds, they just can't do it.
66.7%, I think it's at.
67.
And
We
then you're
talked
going up
about this,
against a strong Stars team
Yeah.
at that point.
That's a concern. Because
Yeah.
the PK was getting shredded, especially against the Kings. It cleaned it up, but it was so bad that it's still not great.
They cleaned it up because they weren't taking penalties too.
That's a good point.
They smartened up.
Yeah.
Focus.
PK is a big one.
And Stars, you know what? They are a bit of a dirty team. They have injured Stu before. You have to watch out for that and not let them get underneath your skin and keep playing.
Who keeps him safe? Darnell?
No.
Evander.
But
Evander.
Darnell has been playing better though, so that's good. Evander.
Is goaltending still a concern?
Very good question. We don't know yet. And I think judging from the performance that they just had, no, at this point it's
Yeah.
not. At this
But
point
it
it's
could
special
turn.
teams, huh?
It just takes that one game. And
Exactly.
It can also be one. The
True.
concern I would
True.
have for goaltending is there's no Pickard. Because if something like when's he going to be ready to go? That's the concern I'd have. Because if Skinner has that bad game, at least you can maybe go to Pickard, and then if there's an injury, go to Pickard or something. That's the one where I would just sit there and I just want to see both of them,
Mm-hmm.
one on the ice, one on the bench, you know? And then I'd have more confidence in that,
fair.
just because it just takes one bad game, and then I'm not saying this will for me will go there, but if Skinner lets in 4 tonight. You know what's going to be the topic on your post-game show.
We're gonna be
from a
talking
lot of
about
people.
Stu Skinner.
A lot of people are going to come blame him, no matter how those goals are.
Yeah.
He's getting the criticism. It could be a 4-0 loss tonight, and it won't be offensive scoring. It won't be defense. It will be right on Stuart Skinner.
Yes.
So that's how quickly the goaltending one can change.
Yep.
So that's
point.
where it's not, but it's not a confidence one either yet, where it could easily turn. Jake Ottinger, he's got a .919 save percentage going into this. Of goalies who have played a significant amount of games these playoffs, he leads the goalies in terms of save percentage, a 2.47 goals allowed average coming into this one. That said, last year, going up against the Edmonton Oilers, where was it? I just had it. I went to the wrong page here. The Oilers got to him. Last year, 3 goals, 1 goal, 3 goals, 4 goals, 3 goals, 2 goals allowed. for Jake Ottinger against the Edmonton Oilers. So the Oilers, they can get to Jake Ottinger.
Yeah. Has he had any shutouts yet this playoffs? Because I think that's the thing. When Oilers get a little frustrated when they're peppering the goalie and they can't score.
Jake Ottinger has not had a playoff shutout this year. He has not had a playoff shutout since
And no problem.
Minnesota in 2023.
Perfect.
That's it.
Perfect.
And then
Got it.
before that, he had one against Calgary. Oh, he was great in that series.
Whereas
He didn't have a
Stu has-
save percentage lower than 935 in that series against Calgary.
The one they lost?
Yeah.
Well, wasn't the game winner the one that Gaudreau scored? Was it a 1-0 game?
The first game of that series was 1-0. The game 7 was a 3-2 overtime.
3-2. Okay.
But yeah, he had an unreal, like every single game, he was amazing.
Rip City, he said last year by game 3, the Stars had run out of D-men to play. It'll be the same this year.
Okay, so they have Bichel, Labushkin, Petrovic.
You talking about last year?
I'm talking about this year. I'm just looking at the right-handed D-man.
CC Dumba.
CC. Oh yeah, Dumba's still there.
Yep.
But I'm looking at
Yeah, I
like
didn't
that's
realize that. Yeah,
the reason why I'm bringing up Bichel, Petrovic, and Labushkin. When you see those guys and it's half your decor, like, do you have a ton of confidence? Forget CC, forget Heiskanen, forget Lindell right now.
I just
but,
don't
like,
need them to do anything sexy for me. So you can have the confidence knowing, okay, well, can you just defend?
They don't
Can you
have
defend well?
They don't
That's
have
all.
Labushkin listed on Daily Faceoff for deep pairings.
Bichel's left-handed too.
They got
sorry.
Harley,
Nah, my
Heiskanen,
bad.
Lindell, CC, Bichel, and Petrovic.
they, you know what they do? They stick them up here sometimes if they're going 11-7.
No.
No, okay, you're right.
And they're usually
Bichel's
just
like
they're
6'7",
Yeah,
and he's a
yeah,
giant.
he's a monster.
Yeah.
Monster.
but they usually ride 4 for the most part.
The
But
D-men?
yeah, like the other guys, I don't need Bichel to do anything crazy. Defend. That's it.
Just don't let in a goal, basically.
Don't let in a goal that's unnecessary.
And give your team, the
and
other
make
guys,
sure
the time
that
to rest.
yeah, and make sure that when you are out there, you make sure that the other guys have to earn it, and it has to be. It can't be anything for free. So okay, you get out there, and Petrovic's going to put you into the bench like he did to Lowry, or they're going to try to fight a guy, or they're just going to make it hard for you. Do that in the 12 to 15 minutes that you're going to play. Those are good, useful minutes.
Last year they rode 5 defensemen. It felt like.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
like Lundqvist and Petrovic swapped out, and they played like 5 minutes each.
Yeah,
Did they have any injuries, or were they just weak?
I think they were just weak depth wise.
Didn't they have Hakanpää too?
They had Hakanpää hurt.
Yeah.
He was hurt, and then Tanev. Tanev was their big guy that added.
I think some of the nasties were talking about CC.
Yeah. Oh, Brent P. Good.
Yeah.
Because Brent P. texts us and says, you can't forget one of the Oilers' biggest scapegoats is playing D for the Stars, Cody Ceci. According to some fans, he was the worst, so the Oils should be able to exploit him.
Absolutely. I love that text because that's what I was going to say. I was like, why are people fearing CC? Who cares?
Because he's good.
he's a solid defender.
Yeah. How many times? There's so many times this regular season where when the Oilers were struggling defensively, people would be like, boy, Cody Ceci would look good on this D.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have.
And they,
The problem is when he was here, he just played a little bit too high in the lineup.
well, I had to
And
make up for
multiple times.
Darnell's
Yeah. And Darnell wasn't
unpredictable
playing.
play, as Cass put it.
Yeah.
You also just don't want to get to Game 7 for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
No.
It's a double whammy.
CCN Pete DeBoer. Breaking news quickly from the National Football League. The Philadelphia Eagles, they tweeted a picture going, push on.
Yeah, because
Push.
It did not get banned.
because
Let's
Kelsey
go.
was an advocate for it.
22-10 vote. 22 teams voted in favor of keeping the tush push. 10 teams voted against it.
Let's go.
So that just happened.
Learn how to stop it.
Not
Yeah,
banned.
don't be big baby.
The teams that sided with the Eagles included
Wow.
the Ravens. You're welcome, everyone.
Big boy football.
Patriots,
Kind of big boy football.
Jets,
Not
No,
so big
not
boy
relevant.
football.
And Lions. That's from Adam Schefter.
That's
Okay.
big boy football.
I'll be intrigued to see who the rest are. We know the Packers were
I'm
against
curious
it.
to see where my Dolphins fit.
Is that why they put the picture against the Packers?
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
They did it against the Packers, the push on picture.
I love the shade and the interwoven drama and underlying meanings and all that in the NFL. It's very well done. It's curated to perfection.
It really is.
Yeah.
Can we come back to that?
Yeah, can we come back to
Yeah, I
that
just
as well
wanted to-
after?
But there was
Yeah.
there's something that I saw that I wanted to talk about, which I thought was interesting.
Burrows?
There was a tweet that was posted, I believe, yesterday, and it said of the last 5 Stanley Cup winners, there wasn't a single player over $10 million.
Oh, I saw this, and I saw the counter to it too.
Yeah, depth 100% wins. Like, what do you guys make of that? Because
Well, the counter to that was the problem you can't do with that is cap has gone up.
yes,
And if somebody broke it down, and I'd have to go find it. If you broke down the cap, if you did the inflation type thing, what would this person's player's contract be in today's dollars?
yes,
There was a number of players over $10 million.
So if you're looking at the final 4 right now, there's not one player in Carolina that's over 10 million. If you look at Edmonton, you have obviously Connor McDavid. So that's one player over 10.
Yeah.
Where's Florida here? Should be somewhere at the top of this list, but
What did Reinhardt sign for?
why can't
And
Like
they have
nine something.
yeah, and Caleb Jones is like no, not Caleb, Seth Jones.
so
sorry.
Barkov is right at 10 million.
Yeah.
Tkachuk is 9.5. Reinhardt's at 8.6. And Ekblad is 7.5. Seth Jones at 7. So nobody there. I guess if you want to call Barkov 10.
Did Seth Jones get retained by Chicago?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he was part of that Werenski Nurse.
Yeah. I'm on Puckpedia right now,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
saying
yeah.
he's
Okay,
at 7
okay.
million.
His
cap
his
hit.
actual contract like 9 point.
Yeah, but his cap hit's 7.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then so like what Maddie's saying, if you take the percentage of the cap with inflation,
Like Chris Pronger was, I think, in today's dollars, $12 million when he went
Yeah.
with the Ducks. I think they worked
Yeah,
it
which
out.
is fine, but we're talking about the last 5 years.
I know, but it's like
it's a flawed argument.
I believe it
because
is a flawed
it's
argument,
happened in
too.
the past, at the very least.
Yeah.
So these last 5 years, the one thing I could go against is 2 of the winners of the last 5 years was the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers, who we know have players signed for a little less because no state tax.
Fair.
So they're able to keep players, so they don't have to, they get that little advantage because of what their state does for that. It's to me like. The Carolina Hurricanes or Stanley Cup? Is this your just take of you picked up Hurricanes? You're trying to push your Hurricanes through?
No, but
I don't
because
need that narrative today.
The reason I'm bringing this up is because I remember when Chicago was winning their cups.
Yeah.
And Kane and Taves both signed for, I think it was like $10 million. And they took up, I think it was like 22% of the cap.
Yeah.
And I remember after that time, they got one more that year, the year that they signed. And after that, they had to get rid of the rest of the team. And they're always like, well, if you have players that are taking up X amount of your cap, and it was like 22%, your chances of winning a Stanley Cup actually go down significantly. And because I remember that conversation. So when I looked at that, I was like, wait a second, like this is really interesting because there isn't guys really over $10 million that are winning Stanley Cups because that money is now spread throughout their lineup, which potentially gets you a higher end lineup all throughout. I thought it was a very interesting comment. And because I remember when Chiarelli came here, he was talking about 22% of the salary cap, 22% of the salary cap. And it's like, okay, well, why is that happening? And then you hear the other part of that with Chicago. And like maybe there actually is something to that.
The flip side to that is it's like how many players have had the chance to go get those bigger contracts as of yet. Like we're just getting into this. Like what's going to happen is 10 years from now, we're going to talk about, well, you never won a Stanley Cup with a $20 million player because the highest contracts are at a certain point. McDavid was only 12.5. Like obviously no one was really going to get over 12.5. So then the valuation is, okay, well, can you really get 12? McDavid's 12.5. Are you really worth a $12 million player? So there haven't been that many players with the opportunity to make over 10. And that's why, like, to me, it just, if you look at the percent of cap, what it was over the last few years that we've had of no player or, 10 million, it's happened in the cap era where we've seen players eat up a big part of the cap and they go, those teams have won a Stanley Cup. I think that's the way you have to look at that. I'm trying to find the stat, but it was like the Ducks back when, like, again, Chris Pronger was, I think, like, adjusted, if I recall correctly, it was like $12 million.
Okay.
Like he was making $12 million in this days if the cap was all flipped to now. So it's happened. So for the last 5 years, why hasn't it? Well, the other part to that is we've had a huge flat cap over the last number of years as well from COVID, where the cap hasn't gone up, so these players can't even make more because these teams can't even give that little extra more because they haven't had the room.
Okay, so
you're going to see over the next 5 years contracts blow up in the National Hockey League because the cap's going up $9 million or whatever here, and it's like over the next 3 years, it's scheduled to go up almost $20 million or something like that.
Okay, so then we're going to rewind to 2019. Okay, if you go to St. Louis Blues on that particular team, do you guys remember anybody that was over 10 mil?
No, because we're just entering the $10 million player era in the NHL.
Which is fine. And
I think if we're talking about them, we have to talk about, is there any player over $8 million? How many players over $8 million at that time?
But that'd be a great question.
Because that's where I would have to set that number at. I think if we're looking in the past, is okay, I got to lower it because there weren't those players that were making it.
So the last time the Chicago Blackhawks won, when they got their $10 million, was 2015. So that's how far back this conversation potentially actually goes, because those were the first guys to get that money and to take up 22% of the cap. And then from there, they stopped winning cups because they had to dismantle their team. Right around that time, Sidney Crosby re-signed, and he re-signed for 8.7 on purpose to save more money for other players to build their lineup. They ended up winning 2 cups back to back. Then Washington won in 2018, and then it's 2019 with the Blues, and then obviously we have the tweet of the last 5 years. So in actuality, it's probably closer to the last 10 years.
Yeah, but 5 years of that is COVID influence.
I fully agree, but at the same time, there's still something to be said about it, given the fact that as soon as those two stars in Chicago won and took up that much of the cap, they stopped winning.
Okay, I found the thing. 2000. Okay, this is a fun one. I'm going to take away the first one away because it doesn't really count. 2007, Chris Pronger took up 15% of the cap. 2007, Scott Niedermayer took up 14% of the cap. So right there, 29% of their cap went to 2 defenders. Now, 2 pretty good defenders.
Hall of Famers. Yeah.
Nick Lidstrom, 15% in 08. Pavel Datsyuk, 13% in 08. Brian Rafalski, 12% in 08. Sidney Crosby had 15% in 09. Brian Campbell, 13%. Zdeno Chara, Malkin, also at 13% for their years. Crosby was at 12. Malkin was at 13. Crosby was at 12. Ovechkin was at 13. Kucherov back-to-back years was at 12. Vasilevsky was at 12. Mark Stone was at 12. Bobrovsky was at 12. Barkov was at 12. Kachuk was at 11%. So if you look at the cap hit percent, and all those players in 2025 cap hit equivalents would be $10 million or more.
Yeah.
So it's
so you think it's just he's cherry picking his comments, like that tweet was cherry picking?
I think it's a little cherry picking, and I think it's just there's too much nuance and there's too much other elements that go into that. That, like, you could look at that and like, oh, that's interesting, but you have to look into it. Okay, why is that? And I think there is more to it than just straight up, well, yeah, there's been more money to spend on these other players to bolster the team. It's also okay, but actually we have to go back. $1 today is not the same as $1 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Yep.
And you have to balance that out. Now, look, there is a part though to having the depth, and that's what McDavid kept a couple million and a half or whatever off the table. And we'll see his contract, this upcoming one will be interesting. Is he going to take the max that I'm sure the PA is going to push for? Or are we going to hear that, or when he signs, it's going to be a little under the max? Like, what is that going to be? Because you want a little more money to spend. Tom Brady's famous for that. Tom Brady's famous for not being ever, I don't think, the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. But that gave the New England Patriots a chance to spend. So there's a lot that goes into that. But Like, look, the Oilers could easily end that this season.
Oh, 100%. I just thought it was a very interesting conversation piece, right? Because it's like you look at the teams, and hockey is the ultimate team sport because the star players, if you're a forward, only play 20 minutes? If you're a defenseman, you play 25, maybe 30 if you're really pushing it.
Yeah, I think in playoffs you could look closer to 30 something.
30?
Yeah.
But then you get to, the NBA, you get to some of these other sports where it's like, okay, football, quarterback. If you have the best quarterback, there's a high likelihood you're going to be more successful as a team. If you have the best player in the NBA, you're more likely
You're a
to
playoff
be
team right off the bat.
100%. So I just find it such an interesting conversation because hockey is so team oriented that you can have winners like the Vegas Golden Knights when they won it. Like,
I guess here's the stat I would like to know then. What is the percent of cap hit for the top 3 salaries of the last 15 Stanley Cup winners? And what is that number? That would be the thing I'd like to know. Like, okay, if the top 3 guys are making, what is the percent of their cap for that year was it? And I'd like to know that. Because the other thing we could add onto this too I also forgot this part. When it comes to Vegas and the Lightning at the least, there was, I don't know what the word is, LTIR play.
circumvention.
It's not circumvention in the end because they never got. There was no. They didn't break any rules.
They were advantageous.
That's perfect. That there's that part to this too, where they were able to add extra players and they didn't need to go spend that because they could load up on their depth because they had Kucherov was injured and Mark Stone was injured, and that changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I guess part of that of the last 5 years at least, if we're going to look at that one, that plays into this too because. They were able to go get some other players, but they didn't need to go pay the $10 million guys because they knew at the deadline they were just going to go bring in a bunch of players.
We've had a bunch of people text and say, I'll use this text, but same sentiment from a few texters. Say, forget the dollar figure. Who has won the cup with the highest percentage of the cap? There's a few people who've talked. Brock says Ovi took up 12.7% of the cap the year he won the cup. Crosby took up 15.3. That goes back to the list you had, Maddie. In 2009, Niedermeyer took up 15.3. McDavid takes up 14.2 this year.
But
So percentage.
I think the conversation
bigger.
to what the Blackhawks was 2 players at 22%. That was kind of the whole issue, I believe it was.
But then you have had examples prior to that win of guys closer to pushing 30% of the team's cap.
The 2 guys at 22, but okay, what did also Duncan Keith and
Seabrook
have as
those guys, yeah.
Like, what is
I
that
don't remember
added of
exactly
those 4?
what their salaries
They were pretty high.
They were high, but I
Yeah.
don't think they're as high as we thought they were.
I think Seabrook was lower than we think.
Yeah, that's what.
What do you get in the nasty
Kevin
chat?
Cassian in the nasty chat has a question. Can you discuss how 75% of the teams to make the conference finals over the past 5 years are from no tax states? Doesn't that seem a bit fixed?
Advantageous as well.
Well, it's not fixed. It's the That's how
Just the way it
that's
is?
reality.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
It's an old argument of like, and this is not a shot at these cities, but like, would you rather go play in Florida or would you rather play in Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Most players would rather play in Florida. And that's, once again, not a shot at these Canadian markets. But the reality is okay, well, in Edmonton, you're Stuart Skinner, right? You get absolutely eviscerated because you don't play a good game. And you get eviscerated almost all year. But if you're down in Florida, you're not getting eviscerated.
And you don't have to deal with the snow.
You don't have to deal with the snow. You're taking a golf cart to practice. You don't have to worry about this media and fan base ripping you every single night.
Can I add one?
There's something. Go ahead.
You don't have to wear socks.
That'd be so nice.
There's a different type of lifestyle with that. Some players can handle it. Some players can't. And obviously, the players that are playing in Canada and they're succeeding, they have the mentality to be able to handle that. I think Josh Morrissey talked about that in Winnipeg. He's like, I love it because that's just my mentality. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like the state tax thing, like, I sure.
Here's another example. I remember talking to a French-Canadian player. This was, 10 years ago, whatever. And I asked him, like, wouldn't you want to play in Montreal or Quebec? And he goes, not a chance. He goes, half your salary gone, and you get absolutely shredded day in, day out if you're not winning. And I'm like, you're from there. Wouldn't it be amazing to win a Stanley Cup there? Sure. but it's going to be so hard. He goes, that's why a lot of French guys still don't want to go back there.
Dude, I played there for a little bit.
I know.
And we lost 2. Well, I think they started on a road trip out west. They lost 3 games. We came back game 4 of the season. We lost to Colorado. It was like 3-2. And we have a day off the next day, and we're out for drinks, and a fan came up to me. Like, why you came up to me? I got nothing to do with this. I just got here. But he's like, are you guys gonna ever win a game? Well, I don't know, man. Like, there's 78 more. I think we might get one.
Sheesh.
So like that's what they're doing
Yeah.
in those particular cities. So like that's if you have to live in that type of pressure cooker and you don't have the right mentality for it and you don't want to have to deal with that, then I completely understand why people go to those southern teams.
Is there a reason you didn't mention Toronto, for example? Considering a lot of these players are from Ontario and they want to play for their hometown team or their favorite team as a kid.
That's just the way we hear when the guys sign. I think it's probably
Yeah.
a good mix of players that don't want to play in Toronto for the pressure.
That's true. And this guy, this Francophone guy, like the thing that stood out to me, because we're talking about the no state tax, is the first thing he said was, half your salary gone.
Which is true.
In
Which is
Quebec.
very, very true.
That was the
sucks.
first thing he
There's a
said.
childcare tax that like gets you too. Because I
Yeah.
remember we'd get our paychecks when I was in Hamilton, because we're obviously a Montreal team. We get our paychecks and we'd look at the breakdown. You're like, this childcare tax, man, is that a lot? And it would rake you over the coals.
The Toronto thing, I don't know. That's become a big discussion. Like, I saw Ken Campbell talk about how Curtis Joseph, Gary Roberts, Matt Sundin wouldn't complain back then. I don't know. Like, those guys were grizzled vets.
Those guys were
Whatever.
hard nosed though.
That's
Yeah.
like Stockholm syndrome. Like you just when you leave the team, maybe you'll see,
Yeah.
like Mitch Marner is a big topic today, right?
Exactly. And those guys, that was a different era. That was like 25 years ago now.
Those guys were grizzled, hard
Yeah.
hockey players. Like they were different mentality.
Different
Like you
era,
had to
man.
like
Generation.
you had to fight for everything you got at that point. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that these kids today don't have to fight in the same way, but it's just different. And so once again, like with social media and the way that people can access information and get and talk to or be closer to players than they were in yesteryear, like there was a separation there, right? Like you couldn't just get on the phone and find this guy's Twitter handle or Instagram handle and rip him. Like you couldn't have that. So there was a separation. So I do think that plays a big part of it because
Yeah.
that pressure is now closer to home than it ever has been. Because if you're back in like even 2015, well, if I had a bad game, sure, I'm going to get booed on the ice and I might get ripped in the paper.
But
I could
Twitter's
go
gonna
home.
go at you. Yeah.
Twitter's not there. Facebook's not there. Instagram's
Instagram.
not there. I just can go home and I can turn it off and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I can reset. But now you open your phone, like you get all these alerts.
The best is
Man.
your friends send you a text of a screen grab somebody said, and you're like,
Yeah.
I didn't need to see that.
Yeah.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
So
Not
One-
even sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Keep that thought for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah, they're gonna criticize you, but also with social media, they have like the replay now and they're circling the play and it's like
Yeah.
all over like the failure.
Yeah.
Right?
and it's
That's true.
it's the hot take era and
Yeah.
it's the I want to see you fail era and people
Beat you
rip
down.
on that and they beat you down and
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, like there's so many factors for people and athletes and like we talked about it like with Campbell. With Jack Campbell when he came here. And they're like, well, why can't he get it figured out? I'm like, I don't know. People they have a tough time adjusting to different environments. And you go to Mikko Rantanen. So he goes from Colorado, that whole murky situation, goes to Carolina. He was junk in Carolina to the point where people are questioning, was he actually that good? Was he just a McKinnon merchant?
Byproduct, yeah.
Was he that?
Jonathan Huberto of Barkov. type thing.
100%. And then all of a sudden,
Well, that's what
No,
I
that's-
was
that
wrong
was
with
like-
Huberto.
yeah,
but that's what, he was the byproduct of Barkov.
yeah.
Whoa.
And so that's what people started thinking of Rantanen. And then he goes to Dallas, and it took him a while to get going.
But then
But then once he got going and once he got comfortable, look what we've seen. So yeah, it is a factor to you. All of a sudden, go from a team that you care about, you got your buddies, you got your families, you're cemented in the community, to getting that pulled away from you, to now go to a place you don't even want to go to, and you somehow have to perform. You're like, why? Yeah. That's how people think about it, and like it's hard to do that. It's hard to not pick up the phone, like guy call you and be like, hey man, we want you here in 4 hours. I got my whole place. Don't worry about your place. Just give me a couple bags and we'll get you figured out. Okay. Mm-hmm. Get to the airport. Pack up as much as you can. You're on the plane. Gone. That's not easy.
No, that's true. The thing I was going to say is I read Curtis Joseph's book. If you haven't read it, it's pretty good. It gives you like a lot of insight into his life and his upbringing. Very unique situation for him. Anyway, when he signed with Toronto, he got his big payday, obviously. I think he owned a ranch outside of Toronto and had horses and stuff like that. And I think that was his
sanctuary
way to get away. Sanctuary. Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly. So guys had different methods, and that might have been one of them. It's like, hey, get out of the city. I'm going to go and I'm going to take this horse and feed them or whatever. Deal with the animals that I have on my ranch that I built. And then you're not thinking about hockey because you're baling horse crap and hay.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it's different now, I guess.
It is like, I'm bringing up Mitch Marner again, but, him not playing well, and then all of a sudden it's like, his hair is dry. Like, I'd be mortified if you're like, yo, you played like garbage. But by the way, Jasmine, you forgot your Moroccan oil today. I would be pretty rattled, okay? Which I did. That's why I was thinking about it.
Hilarious.
What is this Moroccan oil?
It makes, it takes the frizziness away from your hair.
Oh,
so
okay.
if Mitch kind of used that, maybe, you wouldn't be.
Well, Dusty does the sweat test with Marshall after hockey.
That's right.
So Mitch would have failed the sweat test with Dusty. Dusty, okay, sweat test, Mitchie.
Hey, good
and
point.
Then, hand dry. You're not working hard enough. Let's go.
Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout there brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out at highproductmarketing.com. This is the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage and your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Edmonton Sports Talk, Sentinel Storage. Canada Storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life's transitions. Canadian storage provider. Find a convenient location nearest you or get on the latest deals.
Oh,
I was right on it.
That might have been your best one ever.
Sentinel.ca. Bellsy, Jasmine, Tommy, Matt with you here. Brennan, the intern, on the other side of the camera as well. Reminder, Lock Shop oil stream today, live from Boston Pizza Windermere. Boston Pizza Windermere, so you can go join the boys there. Tommy will be back at Boston Pizza Westgate for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Brennan will be with you on location as well for the pregame show. That goes from 5 until 6, as the Reed Wilkins show will go from 3 until 5 today with these 6 o'clock conference finals games. Get used to the 6 o'clock. So outside of Sunday at 1. 6 o'clock this whole series. If there's a Stanley Cup final based on the last few years, pretty much all going to be 6 o'clock unless they surprise us with another matinee, which I would be surprised by. But get used to the 6 o'clock games. And that, again, Reed Wilkins show from 3 until 5, 10 in EST afternoons from 1 until 3.
Hernan will be with me on location. Zach Tacum will be producing. And then Sunday, Cass is away, so Joaquin will be with me at the Ice House.
Nice.
Yeah. And Reed, of course. Yeah.
I do want to get to over-under for Play Alberta. Right now, deposit 20 or more for a $100 free bet on sports. Use the promo code 100sports. Or there's the $50 free bet. YAG50 to receive a $50 free bet when you deposit 5 or more. Just quickly before I get to the over and under, I'm just going to look at what Play Alberta has for today.
6.5.
Is the over-under for the game. The Edmonton Oilers, though... Mm-hmm. There we go. The Oilers plus 110 on the money line. The Stars are the slight favorites at minus 139. You can also click on EST specials. Right now, the early bird bet. Oilers to win. McDavid 2+ points. Bouchard 1+ assist. That's plus 382. Dusty's play of the day also right now is Zach Hyman with a point at minus 102. Here's my over under. There's no pushing allowed. I'm going to set this series at 6 games. If this ends not in 6, do you see it's more likely to go over to 7, or do you think it's more likely this team finishes the other team off, more notably the Oilers finish off the Stars in a 4 or 5? No pushing allowed. 6. Over or under this series?
Over. 100% over. I think this is going to be a battle.
It's that close between these two teams.
I think so. So I'm going to go on the over on that one.
Benny? Because Hernan has, I think his official prediction is going to come today. On the Hangout yesterday, he was saying like 5, and Dusty went gentleman sweep 5 today.
I want to be different, but it's over. I'm with Tommy.
7?
I'm with Tommy.
I already picked
there.
6, so I got to go over.
We don't have to. You could say maybe 5. You
It's
could say
not
the
going
Oilers-
5 because this team's too good.
Yeah.
The Stars team?
The Stars team's too good. They're I think most people's Stanley Cup champions, or at minimum Stanley Cup contenders. So how can we just dismiss them in 5 like that?
Because you go over under.
Yeah, I'm with Belsey on this one. Dallas is not a bad team. This is the Western Conference Finals. If it's not going to be in 6, it'll be in 7.
I was going to go under.
You're going to be the guy?
I
like
could
that,
see
though.
that. I could
That'd
see,
be good.
I could see the Oilers getting the
Yeah.
split in Dallas. I could see them taking both in Edmonton, and then finishing this off when they go to Dallas.
That'd be beautiful.
I could
That
see
would
it.
be-
They
that
won
would
3
be-
straight against Dallas last year.
That'd be glorious.
They win tonight, lose game 2, take the 2 in Edmonton, go to Dallas, win game 5, boom, it's over.
That'd be glorious.
Ever since game 2 of the King series, this team has just been on a roll. And the depth scoring is there. And we talked about, what if the power play gets going? How do you stop this Oilers team at that point? That's why I
that's
could
right.
actually see the Oilers. I don't see the Stars winning in 4 or 5. But I could actually see the Oilers winning in 5. So I'll take the under on that one. Even though I don't do much predictions.
I love that though, because
I gotta jump in.
realistic.
I will. The other thing too, I will stand by the predictions. I did say going into the LA series that either the Oilers lose in the first round or they're winning it all. There's no stopping them.
That's true. You did.
There was
say
no
that.
middle ground. There was
You
no
did say
conference
that,
final
yeah.
loss. There was no second. They weren't even losing the Stanley Cup final. There's just no stopping this beast. And right now it is that train going downhill. I just don't know how they get stopped.
will it be high scoring today?
Yes.
You think so?
I
hey?
think so. Both teams feeling out, not
This game one last
not a tentative feeling out process. Just smash it together and let's see what
I think
happens.
it's gonna be like a 4-2.
Yeah.
Wow.
4-3, something like that. We're going to see a couple of clusters of goals, maybe.
NBA.
There's been that for the Oilers this playoffs, like whether they're scoring in clusters or getting scored on in clusters.
Yeah.
I think that'll probably continue.
You're right. Like they're going to be eager.
Yeah.
And I always say this, me and you, but score first.
Yes. Yes, actually.
You can I.
The game's you can I.
Conference final. So the Oilers, it was a 3-2 double OT win in game 1 last year. And then it was 3-1 in Dallas. So a much tighter start to the series last year down there. I'm not getting into that one.
People are just all over you, Tommy.
For what?
Tommy's always wrong. So Oil in 5. Tommy's never right. Oilers in 5. Tommy's occasionally neutral. Oilers in 5.
I think they're doing it facetiously because I'm always right.
Maddie, what's this koi stuff?
Yeah.
You gotta address it.
The Tottenham Spurs, it's their nickname, I guess. Is that what I would call it? It's the Kois. It's Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspurs today in the Europa League final.
Oh.
Winner gets a spot in the Champions League next year. Neither team deserves it. Both teams are trash this
Oh
season.
my God. Tell me how you really feel.
Oh, well, I'm a United fan. It's been an awful season. Like, this is probably the worst teams ever.
Is that why you wore that shirt today?
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
that,
it's final today. It's a big match.
no, it's good.
It's a big match today.
Yeah.
So 1 o'clock.
Gotta represent.
But it's one of those things where usually, like, to get to the Champions League, you're a top 4 team in your league. But they do give the winner of the Europa League a spot as well.
Mm-hmm.
This might be the worst entrance into the Champions League from any of the big 4 clubs. Like, with where they are, I think right now maybe 15, 16 out of 20 both these two teams are in England right now. It's horrendous.
tough.
Neither of these two teams deserve a chance to be in the Champions League next year. And I'm a United fan. Yeah, 16, 17. Tottenham is 1 spot above relegation. United is only 2 spots above relegation. It is truly embarrassing where these clubs are, especially for Manchester United. Tottenham Spurs, they basically have never won a championship before. So it's naturally going to be right that United gives them their first ever championship because we can't beat anyone in England. I think United's beaten 5 clubs in England this season. We could beat other teams. We just can't beat anyone in the Premier League. So that's why I'm very nervous about this match.
Are you gonna
But
be
that's what it
okay?
is.
Do you need a hug,
You
Maddie?
nervous breakdown.
No, I'm
over here.
Seriously.
very excited because come
You
Sunday,
don't have any kind of excited energy right now. You've got a lot of nervous energy.
because you haven't followed the United season this
He's
season.
passionate.
Sunday will come and then their season is over and it will be glorious. Because I am done with this season.
Okay.
This awful season. And I have very little hope going into next season.
Okay.
But this, at least if we win this today,
you're excited for it to be
I get
done.
like, oh, at least we're in Champions League next year. I'm just very excited for this season to be over. Very excited.
Okay.
I don't know what comes from it. So, yeah. But so people are going to naturally cheer against me.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
that's okay.
I like how this has become a thing. People going against us, giving us the gears. This is good. This is the beauty of the nasties.
Keep us on our toes.
It's been such a terrible
But
season.
he's still on it.
Oh, it's just so awful. It's so awful how bad United's been this year.
I stand by my statement.
Want to be a
Everything
Cardinals
okay?
fan?
Oh, okay. You want to know what United's done? Here's the
Here
United
we go.
Lost to Chelsea, lost to West Ham, and this is in Premier League. Lost to Brentford. When was the last time they won a Premier League match? Drew Bournemouth, lost to Wolves, lost to Newcastle, drew City, lost to Nottingham Forest. Oh, we beat Leicester on March 16th.
Nice.
Our last Premier League win.
Very
Yeah, that's tough.
significant victory that everybody recalls.
For such a prestigious team,
Yeah.
this is tough.
Oh, it's the manager could get fired this year, but they brought him in mid-season. And it's
Yeah,
one
so he's got a little
it's-
bit more leash.
Well, but it's also one like how bad they have been. It's almost one where you sit there and be like, honestly, if he gets fired, I'm like, I don't even feel bad because it's been just like a dreadful season.
Did they
guys
get
got me
better
wrong.
since the manager came on?
No, they've
They
got
got
worse.
worse, then he might get fired.
But he came in. He wanted to come in the summer. He specifically said, "Let me finish out my season where I am. I'll
Yeah.
come in the summer." And the club was like, "Nope, we want you now." And he plays a certain system that the United players can't play. They're not good enough for it. And he stuck with that system all year. He never adjusted out of it. Which, to one degree, it's like, okay, well, you're trying to evaluate who's in and who's out. But there's also comes a point where it's like, maybe you could stop with this. And, do something that works for the rest of this season.
Pretend like you're being a coach. Yeah.
What was that?
But we'll see. So if he sticks around, they got to support him. They need to go bring in players that fit his system. But it's also one like maybe he's just also a terrible coach in the Premier League, and this could be disastrous to start next year. This is why I have like zero hope right now going into next season. They can make all sorts of moves.
never seen you like this
But
before.
like as we get into September, I might
know.
sit there and be like, "This is an awful season already. Like there's no fixing this, and I got to wait another summer." And there's another manager.
This
change.
is actually quite nice to see.
It is.
Because usually you're that like brash, cocky, I'm a Lakers fan pounding your chest. I'm a Yankees guy pounding your chest. The you, which I love, by the way, so I'm down with that. But like the rest of it, you're just
Belsey.
womp womp.
When you're 16th out of 20th
Baltimore Ravens,
and the bottom
pounding your
three get
chest.
relegated, there is very little.
And here we are. We
You
got
can never
Panic
say.
Matty. This is great.
Well, the United one has actually been going on for a very long time. It's anytime there's a good
man.
season, it turns crap. So
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
3 o'clock would be very just sad for me. 'Cause the match will be over, and I might just be like, "Wow, we gave Tottenham their first trophy."
Maddie's
Awesome.
gonna need a drink right around 3:30.
I'll have drinks before then.
Oh, there you go. Soothe that pain, buddy. Get the PSA started.
You can do the PSA for him.
I would like to film a PSA, please.
Yeah.
Forgot about the PSAs.
Really quickly, Everton, Dallas. We're talking about scoring first because you and Big Euchre say score the first goal. Edmonton 3-1 when scoring first. Dallas 3-0 these playoffs. When the opponent scores first, the Oilers are 5-2. Dallas is 5-5. By the way, the Stars have won 6 straight playoff games at home. Edmonton has won 4 straight road games.
Wow.
Just some stats.
Yeah,
to
good
go.
stats.
Thank
It
you.
is good.
6 minutes till they're on the ice.
Okay. Chris Pronger was on the panel yesterday, by the way. Did you guys catch that? He was
No.
pretty good. It was kind of like a little PTSD, though, with Carolina playing, and then you see Chris Pronger. Not going to lie, it was hard to watch.
Did he reference that Stanley Cup, or did he only talk
talk-
about winning the Stanley Cup?
You know what? They didn't talk too much about it. They showed his breakaway goal on the Oilers.
Oh, the shootout.
Yeah, that's
Penalty shot, sorry.
penalty shot.
What do we make of that team?
The 016?
Yeah.
Miracle.
Miracle.
Cinderella.
Yeah.
A hardworking team.
Yeah.
That was well coached. I'll give Craig McTavish extreme credit, especially for those first 2 rounds. He played that trap-ish hockey, but it worked. You're 8 versus 1 against the Detroit Red Wings. You got to do something. You had unreal goaltending. You had one of the best defenders ever to play the game on your blue line. Who, like, think about what he was part of a St. Louis Blues team that won the President's Trophy, led the Oilers to a Stanley Cup with Scott Niedermayer, won a cup with the Ducks, and then didn't he get to the Stanley Cup final with the Flyers? They got to the Cup final. They had
Chicago.
Like that, like he just what he's done with multiple teams, it's unreal. And then you had just a player like Fernando Pisani go off. Like
no,
we've never
but they
seen.
also got how many
Well,
players are they pulling at the deadline?
2.
They went and got Jerry Space K.
That was a jam. So it was Pronger and Peck in the summer.
Yeah.
It was Spacek and Tarnstrom in the new year.
Yeah.
And then it was Samsonov and Rolison and Rem Murray at the deadline.
Pekka
He was at the summer.
Yeah.
in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a lot of moves throughout the year. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a deadline thing.
So were they really an 8th place team, or did they just they weren't great and then they made some deals that kind of just boosted them up?
Probably a 6th
And guys
place
got
They-
hot at the right time.
But they weren't that good that year, remember? Like they were
Well, that's
just
my point.
kind of like meddling,
Yeah, like
and
they-
they
But I don't think they were great after the deadline. Like,
they lost a couple of games. Rollison, people are like, what the hell was this trade? Gave up a first rounder, and then he kind of rounded into form. What was I going to say
What
about
a
that?
run that was. Do you find
that what makes me sad because it would have just been the great cherry on top of that story of everything involved with it for them to have won that cup.
So we talked about, obviously we had Pies on Saturday.
Yeah, he was
and we
good.
talked about like the differences and whatever. From a outside of the rink perspective, do you think this moss pit like idea and the watch parties is better than and brings more life than what it was in 06 when everybody just went down to White Ave and burned that entire street?
Yeah, it turned into a disaster on White Ave.
But that was all organic.
At the end.
Yeah.
It was everyone went into
No.
their respective bars to watch the game, and then when
Yeah.
it was over, they came into the streets.
Yes, that's right.
That was the different part. Like everyone coming together in the streets was the organic part of that.
But I found and obviously because I'm just younger at that time, but I still found like more people were just like, we're having fun. That's what it seems like. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% true because people were trying to
More
burn
fun
like,
then than now.
yeah, like people were lighting stuff like things on fire.
Yeah.
So that was happening.
Breaking stuff.
But there was
Yeah,
like,
but now people are punching each other.
That's
And
true.
biting each
And it's
other.
not
Yeah.
about climbing up poles anymore.
yeah, like to me, just
or
in
flashing
that
your
run,
yeah.
Well,
that was more fun.
That was a lot of fun.
So
but now it's like
violence.
what you have with Moss Pit, what you have with Fan Park is it's an Oilers controlled thing that's happening. I'm going to go to the Moss Pit, but it's controlled by the Edmonton Oilers. And one thing I'm very thankful for that still tickets aren't for sale for that because it is, as long as people stop fighting, like it is a really cool environment to see. And I never want them to have to ticket it but there comes a point where I thought last year maybe it was that they're going to have to start ticketing this because people were just too crazy.
it's just a
But
bunch
the
of
fan park,
12-year-olds.
but you go to
are.
the fan park and it's all just controlled and you're watching it, with certain products. Whereas the other one was everyone just went to the one spot in Edmonton. It was along the whole street,
Yeah.
and then they could filter in the streets after that. It's just I'll go back to it's just more organic, less corporate.
You're right.
True.
Yeah.
You're
There-
so right.
This is all corporate.
There had
Yeah.
to have been fights in 06.
Oh, without
easily.
question,
Yeah.
there was. But to get once again, and I might have been just younger. It seemed like it was more fun. This
I remember.
this one seems like it's just agony because you're crammed in. Like,
Yeah.
could you imagine being like 6 beers deep and you're stuck in the middle of that moss pit?
No.
That's the
How
other
are you
part.
trying to get out of there?
Our buddy Zach Davis that we used to work with at Bell said he went and watched the game there a couple of years ago, and he literally saw a guy pee himself because there wasn't enough.
I think you have
outhouses
to. You just
or
got to.
porta
You just
potties.
got to piss.
The other part,
gross.
but like that has been taken over by young people.
Oh yeah,
It's 18, 19, 20-year-olds there. Whereas White
it's
Ave,
less than
it
that.
could have been
Everybody.
It could have been anyone that was above drinking age.
Yes.
To a degree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever
It was
the bars let in.
everything.
But like you could be a 30-year-old going to that because you're at Hudson's.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's also an 18-year-old there. But now everyone views Moss Pit as like cash earning. That you cannot pay me to go to Moss Pit for a game. People
painful.
don't look at them like I want to be there, but I'm sure if Benny's friends and all that, you guys all want to go there.
We're all 22. Like we think of the Moss Pit as like underage people can go there. Like,
You're too old for the Moss Pit.
I am too old for the Moss Pit.
Yeah.
We don't go there. We go to the fan park.
Yeah.
Were you excited about Moss Pit a couple years ago?
I've been there a couple times, and I was already feeling like it was out of my age range.
Yeah.
Like the fan park is where we go because that's more the
Little older.
mid like 20 early 20 to 30s range is more where we felt like we fit. So
You know what?
Trev was excited to go to the Moss Pit. And he's older than Benny.
When?
This season. This playoffs.
Trev goes to the Moss Pit?
Well, he wanted to go once, and he went. He was very excited that he got to go.
And how did that go? He just said he was very happy. Like, have
think
we,
he
have
went by-
have
he
we
went by
talked
himself.
about it after?
Yeah, he went by himself.
yeah,
They
he's
did-
like, oh, it was cool. I was like,
Has he gone back since?
No.
No.
Does he want to go back since
don't
that
think so.
event?
I think he wanted to go to the fan park next.
Yeah, so he probably realized it was not the greatest situation
Yeah,
because
it's
there's
just-
12-year-olds everywhere.
It just feels like I went back to high school when I go in the Moss Pit. So
I went to after the game to get on the post-game show at Ice House, and I walked down that street, and the amount of kids that I literally have coached. Oh, hey, Belsy, what's up? Oh, my God. Okay, you're 16, you're 17. That's all it was.
Yeah. Josh texts in, says, in the 2006 run, there was a stabbing every night. It became a very weird thing. Yeah. Like, I remember in 06.
More fun.
Oh my God! Yeah, we're gonna get shanked tonight. This is great. I remember in 06 going down to White Ave after they beat against the San Jose Sharks. They had beaten the Sharks in a couple games, and I think I even went down after they clinched over the Sharks to go to the third round. And yes, there's the high-fiving, people celebrating and all of that. But there was also like vandalism, people's vehicles getting busted, fights. And I remember saying to my buddies, I'm like, I'm not going back to that because that was weird. And I'll just wrap it up with this. I went down to Cancun with buddies from my Red Wings team. And I remember our first night there, the Oilers clinched against the Ducks to go to the Stanley Cup final. And they were showing ESPN Deportes in Cancun at the bar on the TVs.
ESPN
And
what, sorry?
Deportes.
Oh, okay.
And
You want to put a little spin on that?
Deportes.
Yeah.
And our bartender, Manuel.
Manuel.
I remember him. He was great. He would pour the stiffest drinks, and we got extremely inebriated. The next morning, we went for breakfast, so we go back to the bar. Manuel's there, and he's got the towel over his shoulder, cleaning a beer mug. He's like, cerveza. We're like, yeah. And then we're like watching the TV, and they're showing White Ave, and we had told him where we were from, and he's like, hey, you guys, isn't that your city? And we were like, oh my God, that's not good. And he's like, you guys are crazy. And I'm like, oh, yes, we are. Anyway, so that's my story.
I think another thing is location. So I remember in White Ave, like even my mom and dad, like they'd go with my aunt and uncle. They're like, oh, let's go drive the convertible up and down the street. Like it was a thing for families as well. You didn't have to get out of the vehicle. And whereas you can't do that in downtown. There's not a whole road of people walking up and down. It was like Nashville almost, you know? You like walk up and down, you high five, you celebrate. Then there's the vehicles with the flags and the kids and all that. And it's just not that same culture that it used to be.
We saw that once last year.
Yeah.
Where at the end of the game, everybody was in cars walking down the street and people were honking. I haven't seen that this year.
It hasn't happened this year fully that way. It did happen when they, which game was it? I think when they knocked out the Kings. Yeah,
It got
in
like
the street.
that?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
streets were pretty fun.
Yeah.
I remember doing it in Game 6 of the Cup final last year. I remember,
Yeah,
I remember walking
yeah.
down Jasper and like everyone had their hands out, like high fiving.
It's
But was it like a mob of people, you know?
It was everyone
It's
leaving.
not.
It was everyone
Yeah.
leaving the
But
parks.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's a lot,
Yeah.
because it's the
Yeah.
Moss Pit, it's the Oiler game, it's the fan parks. Everyone's leaving the streets and everyone's partying, and the cars are driving by.
Yeah.
It is a wild time, and the weather's nice. Oilers are morning skates underway. Lines: McDavid between Nuge and Hyman, Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Kapanen, Henrik centering Kane and Arvidsson, Janmark between Frederick and Perry, Kulak, Bouchard, Nurse, Stetcher, Wallman, Klingberg, Ekholm and Emberson, Skinner with Rodrigue. No Connor Brown. That's from Daniel Nugent-Bowman.
Also, Pickard did not make the trip.
Yeah, a spec has Ekholm taking regular shift at practice.
Cool.
Not expected to play in these first two games, though, as Tommy reported last week, not till mid to later in this series at the earliest. Also, as he did have what you said, Pickard didn't go on the trip, stayed to continue rehab. So he won't even be there for Friday's game. But there's your lines. The Connor Brown will be an interesting one. We'll have to wait to see what Chris Knobloch has to say about Connor Brown.
I wonder if that's
Maintenance?
illness. Because, I mean, everybody's a little bit bumped and bruised, but he just had a week. So I wonder if he's sick. So I'll try to ask around.
We'll have to wait and see on that one. So there you go. There's your updated Oiler lines.
Excited.
06, this text comes in, quote unquote, let's go Oilers, bleep you, cheat you. That's what we're thinking of Void Ave after San Jose.
I always think about shirts off for her cough.
That happened too.
That came after because of the Red Mile.
The Red Mile was...
Like I said, more fun.
Remember, that was obviously... Internet was a big thing back then, but... there was the Red Mile website, and people would post pictures of
that's right
what would happen on the Red Mile, and then there was Blue Mile. Yeah, it was the beginnings, and you go there'd be a Flames game against Tampa in the Cup final or conference final. You'd go well, let's see what happened on the Red Mile last night. Oh, look at those girls! Oh, look at those guys beating each other up! Oh, nice.
So that's why I get that yelled at me when I wear my Horkoff jersey out.
Yep. That's right.
Why.
Yeah.
What, shirts off for Horkoff?
I have a Horkoff jersey.
So you flash them every time.
Yes. Yeah.
You show off that beautiful body.
And then they run away.
Nobody will fight you that. Get out of here.
Oh, man.
Also tonight, the start of the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA gets going. Knicks Pacers. It's going to be fun to watch that. I'm very happy for Josh Clausen and Mark Michaud. I'm just going to say that right now.
That's be very interesting. And Knicks fans are friggin' Looney Tunes. Did you see the videos I sent you?
You sent me videos?
If the Knicks
Where?
win, shoot me.
Why?
Those videos are incredible, though.
Knicks fans are just, get out of here.
Okay,
They
Final
are.
Four. Who do you want to win this all? If you had to rank,
OKC.
Yeah.
Is that because of SGA?
Yeah, they used to live there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good fans.
Yeah. And
I don't mind seeing a Canadian one. Who,
they
by the way, the
should've-
MVP gets announced today, I believe.
Oh.
I think so. We'll see potentially.
And the
SGA
reality
become
is that-
the second Canadian MVP.
which will be great. OKC should have already won a title. Because if Durant, Harden, Westbrook would have just stayed, they would have won.
They would have.
They had Ibaka,
Yeah.
they had Big Perk, they had Adams, I think, at that
Yeah,
time.
they did.
They had an unbelievable team. And if that little snake didn't just dismantle himself because they lost to the Warriors once, they probably would have won it.
This
Tell me how you really feel.
also Halliburton flying in some fans because they were harassed by Knicks fans. One particularly was a firefighter who had a whole garbage bag thrown on the poor guy for wearing a
Saw
Pacers
that.
jersey.
And yes, I did see your videos, but I thought it was like one guy. He was crazy.
Now, with that being said, I do like the way that they rally around each other, and it doesn't seem like they're fighting another Knicks fan.
Exactly.
They're fighting a different group.
Yeah.
They're going after other people. I could appreciate that. Whether fans are just trying to tilt each other.
Yeah, Knicks fans
insane.
are hilarious though. They're so aggressive.
That's New York.
Yeah.
But really, it's fun to watch those videos. I usually share them on my Instagram.
With the egg wave ones?
No.
yeah.
The New York fans ones. 'Cause they
Okay,
crack
that
me
was
up.
that one
They are
guy,
quite
that older guy.
abrasive.
I'm like, what is this guy?
Okay,
so vulgar.
Knicks final.
Yeah.
Would be fun.
Yo, OKC has to
It
make the
sounds
final.
better to me than OKC versus the Pacers. So I agree with you from that.
Actually, the Pacers are good basketball.
They are really
and
good.
They should have been up. It should not have been 3-0 to the Celtics last year to start. The Pacers should have had 1 or 2 wins.
They're just led by good old Raptor boys.
Really interested
This
to
whole
see,
series.
though.
Couple of raps in this.
Yeah,
series.
well,
The
good for
Raptors are the
them.
ones that are leading this whole
thriving.
charge.
Did Masai mess up?
No, because they're going to be nasty.
You sure about that?
Yeah. They are.
There's a lot of pressure, I would say, on Masai coming up
Giannis,
he's
Giannis
fine.
is coming.
here. He's fine as long as Brendan Shanahan sits there. Masai's in a good spot. He's won a championship.
Giannis is
Got it
coming.
in like 10 years.
True.
It's not going there.
Yes, he
He's heading
is.
south.
Nah,
Heading south.
I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
What if he goes to the Lakers?
Or the
Get
Heat.
the blank
It's most
out of
likely
here.
the Heat or Spurs. You lost
Could
it.
you imagine Flag? Is it no?
Yeah.
Cooper Flag.
Flag.
Yeah.
Flag. Wembanyama and Giannis on the same team.
That would be a good team. Bunch of giants.
Yeah.
That team would destroy the Lakers every single year, and I'd be here for it, Matty. So you know what, Giannis, you should go to the Spurs,
And then Jokic will just go to the Lakers.
and Jokic is then going to go to the
He'll
Raptors.
go to the Lakers to be with his
Luca with his boy.
Luka.
Luka's going to leave too.
And
He's not leaving.
He's leaving.
He's not leaving. He's apparently really embraced LA.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is
To
LA.
what reports?
Well, like apparently, like he's actually like come to like he wants to win for this franchise now.
Oh, okay. Until his contract's up, and then he's out.
No,
Yeah.
you'll see. He'll sign.
That's why I like Dallas so much.
That's what I hate about. I don't mind NBA, but I'm a casual observer, as I tell Jasmine. But the super teams, like
hate them too.
it's ridiculous.
Yep.
But the thing is, there's super team. Like there's so many teams that have great players now. Before it was Golden State and Cavs. That was it.
Right.
Now you can name 2 or 3 great players on so many different teams. Like Westbrook or Durant and Booker were on a team and they missed the play-in tournament.
That's because I think the
There's so many great stars that have now just spread out.
yeah, the
completely.
era of the super team kind of got dismantled after the Raptors came in and just fixed up the Golden State
It's
Warriors.
not teams as much as duos or
Right.
trios
Okay.
coming
fair.
together now.
Fair.
Except for the 2019 Raptors because they were a juggernaut. Just saying. It's actually facts. That's not me trying to
Sure.
skew the stats.
They won 2019.
Dude, they were like one of the best defensive teams that you possibly could find. And as a whole, as a group, they were absolutely dominant. They're the ones that stopped all this nonsense of the super teams.
Well, then the next season that came, LeBron and AD joined up in LA. Well, AD joined LeBron in LA and they went on and they won it all. So
And the reality of the fact is, if Kawhi stays,
can't say that.
Raptors go on a 3.
You can't say that.
3-peat.
Can't say that.
I can.
I agree with
didn't,
you.
and I
If
will.
Kawhi stayed, they
But he
would have.
didn't.
They could have won
didn't.
another championship.
3-peat.
But he didn't.
But he
So-
didn't.
That's the dumbest move in history of a superstar.
To go to the
To
Clippers.
leave the Raps.
Yeah, I know.
To go to the Clippers.
Just stay one more year, bro.
You had the whole country in your hands. You had one of the deepest teams the NBA has seen.
Yeah.
And if you would, and you didn't even have Anunoby at that time. If you would have added him and you kept Kawhi,
You could've just-
you're winning again.
He just went to the wrong LA team.
Oh my God.
If it was Kawhi, AD, and LeBron, they would have won a 3-peat.
Pardon me?
If it was Kawhi, AD, and LeBron, they would have won a 3-peat.
Nobody wants to play with LeBron.
AD did.
The Lakers wanted.
No, AD wanted to go play for him.
Nah,
That's
get
why
out
that
of
trade happened.
That's why you got booted out of there.
Speaking of this whole Drake curse thing with the Leafs.
Did you see him chirp Bieber?
Yeah, he blamed Bieber.
What?
So he lost $1 million because he bet the Leafs.
Right.
He also bet them the day of Game 7 for this drama, right? And then so they lose, and then on Instagram he goes blame Bieber because he didn't want no smoke, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think he was like Bieber curse or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, hilarious.
Which I probably is though, because
What was-
remember Drake is a Raptors guy and they won a championship. So this whole
is-
Drake curse thing, I don't think it's real.
Drake has won one of his 500 teams. He likes more teams than Iwanyk has actually won,
Nice. I like what you
and
did there.
every one of his other teams has lost. Right.
Or any team he jumps on board with.
Right. Exactly.
Kentucky will be looking good and he'll throw money at
He's
Kentucky.
gonna
and
it's
they
over.
will.
watch. He's gonna go for the Oilers. He did last year too, I believe.
Get away, Drake. Just stay away from Edmonton.
What was
please.
Bieber doing?
Why?
Like behind the bench.
Yeah.
his team. He loves the team.
He actually is legit. And he's homies with Austin.
That part's fine. But what are you doing? Like, he was just doing weird stuff behind the bench.
Isn't
That's number
he
one.
weird now?
Number
Yeah,
two,
he
Yes,
is.
but this also
Number
goes back
two,
to something we
he is
talked
weird.
about earlier.
it's one of the worst seats in the entire rink.
Yeah.
I know where
You
you're
can't
going.
actually
I know where you're
see.
going.
Yeah.
So like, why?
There's concerns around Justin Bieber because of something we talked about earlier in the show.
We're not going there, Matt.
I know, but that's like that. I look at
there.
Justin Bieber and I look at a very sad story right now.
I do too, but that doesn't mean that you have to sit behind the bench. You know who sits behind the bench?
True fans?
No.
Girls with big boobs.
Bingo.
Oh,
Or people that want to be seen by the
That's right.
He
players.
just wants to be by them. Yeah, okay. Well, but
Yes,
I
that's
also
what I
don't know
thought.
what Justin Bieber's thinking right now because he's a very sad case right now.
He is a sad case, so go sit up in the suites or in a better seat where you can actually view the game.
yeah, but sometimes
Yeah, if I had the
they
money, I
wanna
would never
be-
have a suite.
But they want to be
I'd
with
wanna
the
sit with the
fans,
fans.
right?
Okay,
Yeah,
but
you want to be with the
fans,
atmosphere.
but be in a better spot than right behind the bench where you're just staring at the coach's backside.
Maybe he didn't know.
Fair, yeah, I agree. Maybe he didn't know.
Maybe
He's
he didn't
not
know that's such a
real
terrible
hockey
seat.
fan. But
He's a real hockey fan.
He plays hockey, I guess.
He's a real
Yeah,
hockey
yeah.
fan.
He
I give him
knows.
that.
He knows.
I look at Justin Bieber these days and I go, there's a very sad story right now being written with him. It's almost like the new version, like the 2025 version.
Oh, the
of
whole
Britney Spears.
Bieber,
Yeah,
the
you're
whole
right.
Bieber
Right? Like
thing
this
is
is a
awful.
very sad one. And
It's
so it's
awful.
like, I don't want to rip on the guy right now just because
No, it's awful.
this could keep going down a very bad path.
I know why. Because the tickets were so expensive, he couldn't afford the other ones.
Oh,
Didn't he just sell his
That's how
music
expensive
catalog
those
for
are.
Yeah.
200 million,
Yeah,
which
he
is
did.
way undervalued?
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And he was
Unless he
advised
gets
not
like
to.
royalties still.
Yeah.
By the way, Conn Smythe favorite, play Alberta, Connor McDavid, followed by Rantanen. The Florida Panthers, though, the favorite to win the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Makes sense.
They are at plus 150. The Oilers plus 250.
Damn Panthers.
Both at plus 400. You could do the exact Stanley Cup prediction right now. Panthers to beat the Oilers or the Oilers to beat Panthers. Both of those are at plus 400. Also, the Panthers to beat the Stars is plus 400.
I love. Reed is chimed in. He's saying Knicks in 6.
That's not what he said.
It is what he said.
Knickerbockers in 6.
Okay.
In 6.
That is their true name. Or it was.
Knickerbockers in 6.
7.
You think 7?
Oh, no, 6. Sorry. Yeah, in 6.
Oh.
I got the
Cop out.
7.
Cop
That
out.
series is going to be
Pop
so interesting, though. Way better than yesterday. Yesterday's game was. I mean, they were. Did you watch any of it, you guys? Okay, well, they were. OKC was down, but they do what they do best. They start ripping it at the end, and they made a big comeback. Actually,
I kept seeing Twitter posts of Shea flopping and getting calls that were like just phantoms.
He's getting ripped a lot right now for
Yeah,
getting
he
those
is.
favorable
is
calls.
that why Aman got a tech? He threw the ball at him.
Yeah.
Aren't they saying that one's better than the other? Is that what happened?
Oh, what?
Didn't somebody come in and say I'm better than Shy?
Sounds like something Aman would say.
I think it was him who said it.
Yeah. Well, whatever. NBA playoffs are also thriving, I guess. But you know what else about Around the Horn and
PTI?
PTI? So right after NBA, they're talking straight hockey. They love it, and I like on
Good.
both shows. I understand it is playoffs, but it's nice. It's nice that you see like McDavid on the screen and
Emily
images of the Oilers.
Emily Kaplan was on there yesterday, but I think on her Instagram, she's like, "This is my last appearance,"
Yeah.
which is sad.
I wonder who they'll have on the last show.
Woody Page,
Should be
Yeah,
Woody
Woody
Page.
Page
Should be
for
Tim
sure.
Kalashaw.
Kalashaw,
Yeah, Kalashaw.
Should be Bill Plaschke.
Plaschke's funny.
And I'd almost go Kevin Blackstone.
Yeah.
Unless they could bring
Those
back.
are like the standard four.
Yeah, but the two that you could bring back. Jay Mariotti, I think that's what it was. He's gone a little crazy and stuff. Like I don't even know if he's writing anywhere anymore. He was good on the show, though. I wonder if they'd bring him potentially back. Bob Bryan, I forgot Bob Bryan.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bob Bryan could also be back. Or
That guy is
Jackie
like,
McMillan.
looks like a crypt keeper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Should bring her back. I would expect that I don't know if she's been on yet. I'd expect she'd be back on sometime this
She
week.
usually does like NCAA stuff, and she's on.
Really? I always thought she was just
That was
NBA.
such a good show.
Around the Horn was a hit or miss for me.
I liked it.
It depends who was on to a
It was
degree.
like the perfect, like just afternoon. Let's just kill time.
Yeah.
It was
30
awesome.
minutes.
I would always try to understand how Reale would dish out the points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he just
If
does
you
it for
tweeted that
essence.
to reality over the last like 5 years, he'd retweet you every so often. He was always retweeting people like, I don't understand how this point system works, and he'd retweet it.
That means there was no point
It was
system.
the best. It was
just
the
whatever.
best points that you made.
Yeah.
and
Or something
depending
made
on
him
how
laugh.
strong the points
Yeah,
was,
but
then
in
you
Tony's
amped it up.
mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in his
In no
mind,
one
yeah.
else's mind, in
Yeah.
Tony's mind.
Yeah.
As long as he liked it,
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
do it. No, it's
Yeah.
there's still PTI. That's
fine.
my show.
I like when he muted people. That was
And
the
it
best-
froze their
yeah,
face?
the best part of the whole show.
Oh.
It used to be when it was added to me the best and stuff was when they had the 3 segments. So there'd be the 4 after the first, going to the first commercial break, he'd kick out 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going to the
that was
second
good.
commercial
Yes.
break, he'd kick out a second, and then it was the showdown.
Yeah.
That was always the best.
Yeah.
Then they had to keep people around for the rest, for the whole show, basically. It was like,
Yeah. Stupid
kick people
take,
off.
muted.
And then, they'd be frozen. And then Woody Page always had his sign with something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back.
Something clever.
It was a good show.
Don't touch PTI yet. Not until Tony and Wilbon want to end it. Or
Yeah, you
when
can't-
Tony wants to end it.
Yeah. It
Tony's
ends with
the
those
first one.
guys.
It ends with Tony.
Yeah.
I think I hope they don't continue it.
I like how Wilbon's like
Rename it or something.
Yeah.
Redo it. Just revamp it slightly. But once Tony's retired, I there's just something special about Tony Kornheiser. and Michael
Totally.
Wilbon.
Totally. He seems organic. And he has new takes. Speaking of new, did you guys catch the new episode of Last of Us?
Yes.
No.
Although Maddie will shut it
I know
down.
Maddie will shut it down.
It's a show that, like, even to go over this last episode would have to recall something that happened earlier in the season, and it is a pretty
Okay.
massive spoiler that I need to give time for people to watch. This
Yeah,
is
I need to get
Yeah.
into it. So
You haven't? I thought you were on it. That's why I brought
I
it up.
haven't started the new season yet.
This is
Oh
one
my
I would
God,
say
watch
like
it.
6 months from now, I'd have no problem talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Belsey,
You've had enough
watch
time.
it.
It's gonna like
You're gonna have spoilers.
the
bud.
Sopranos
get there.
spoiler.
Okay.
I kind
Yeah.
of remember happening the next day to a degree, but like now you can talk about the ending of Sopranos. It is what it is. But that was spoiled. For Last of Us, the big spoilers. I'm waiting till post summer for me to feel like we can say it on the air.
Is it one more episode left, right?
Yep.
Come on, we gotta talk about it then after when it's over.
No,
Okay,
we don't
okay.
have to. It's
fine.
one of those. Just because it's such a massive, like it's such big stories
Yeah.
that happen in this, and not everyone could get to it right away.
But people know, like Jen just said, it's a video game and people already know the
But
outcome.
not everyone.
Not
did.
everyone,
No,
but
there's a
Jen's-
lot of people.
Like I did it.
Right.
I think they
Yeah.
did a great job of not spoiling this.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that didn't know. Like when I go on the Reddit subreddit of this show, and they have 2 different episode discussions. One that specifically says spoilers, and one
Oh,
that says
okay.
no spoilers. And I always click the no spoilers one. And like, so it's like, I don't know.
Okay, well, with that being said, the show makes me cry so much. I cried again in the last episode. That's just so good.
I will say this about the last episode. This is not a
A
spoiler.
lot of people are doing that, Belle.
Yeah.
There's a lot
A lot
of
of
people.
crying.
a lot of crying.
A lot of crying on this show.
It
There was
tugs on
There
heartstrings.
was a podcast I listened to of recaps of those, and like right off the bat, the one person was just giving her initial thoughts, and she started tearing up.
Yeah.
Like just right off the bat.
It's a phenomenal. But I found it to be. This is not a spoiler. I found this episode to be a relief from what was already building up
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
there's some- a
season,
lot of
and it was
answers
like a nice
there.
step back. But then at the same time, woven into the story, and you're like, oh crap.
Nailed it.
Well done.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Just
they did it
incredible
again,
show.
those brilliant bastards.
Well, now we can't even talk about because he hasn't seen the season.
Yeah.
Well,
We definitely can't do it because he's here, and I'm not spoiling this stuff.
It was really well done.
I didn't want it spoiled to a degree.
Are we gonna do predictions with predictions? I know Maddie's not going to, but are we?
Would you like to give one?
Okay, I will say let's do 3-1 Oilers.
Sorry, what?
Predictions.
That's the score.
That's my score today.
I got 4-2.
Yeah, 4-2.
I went with like a 4-3. I'll go 4-3 Edmonton with clusters of goals being scored.
Yeah.
6-3. Oil.
Whoa!
Wow.
Out of nowhere.
Right?
That's
He got
bolder
the
than
over.
that mustache.
Actually, I'd say it's pretty dim.
Coming up next here on Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta. We do got the Lock Shop. Dusty live at Boston Pizza in Windermere. He'll also be there with Tommy for the oil stream. We got EST afternoons from 1 until 3 with Hernan and Gager. From 3 until 5, we got the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. From 5 until 6, it is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tommy Hernan live at Boston Pizza Westgate as Oilers and Stars Game 1 of the Western Conference Final gets going just after 6 o'clock. And then Tommy Hernan will be back with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream. And Cass, right?
Cass, yeah, it's
GCL post-game
yeah.
show after the game, sorry.
Leah Simakopoulos from the Dallas Morning News will join us.
So that's all still to come here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Full coverage of Oilers and Stars Game 1. We're also... 2 hours away from Manchester United kicking off against Tottenham. So we'll see how that goes. Which means we're then 4 hours away from me being very pissed off and very depressed and very sad. Thank you, everyone. A great show today. On behalf of Bellsy, Jasmine, Tommy, and Benny, I am Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage. As I said, Lock Shop coming up in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here, joining us today.